Ladies and gentlemen, today NISSMAT brings to you the fourth dialogue on Israel-Hamas conflict. NISSMAT has earlier brought before you three dialogues covering most of the grounds right from the start of the conflict till the latest information on the conflict as available in the media as well as per our sources. You know, NISSMAT is an institution which started about 3 decades back but has now become a think tank institution, and we have got a number of scholars who give inputs to us on various subjects concerning safety, security, management, applied technology, as well as on topical subjects. Now, today's dialogue is between me, that is C. Paul Singh, President NISSMAT, and Major General Retired Deepak Mehta, the coordinator, as well as Director NISSMAT. We start with the fourth dialogue, General. Are you ready? Okay, General, we are starting with the fourth dialogue. Now, there's a need, no doubt, of having a ceasefire. Immediate humanitarian aids, absence of any tangible solution is adding to a lot of human losses. Then this is resulting not only in the loss of human losses, but devastation, destruction, cruelty, killing of innocent citizens, innocent children, and infirm old people. Such acts of revenge on the part of Israel due to the 7th October incident where the Hamas went inside the Israeli territory and brought out certain hostages and committed some brutalities on them is being justified by Israel that we want to eliminate completely Hamas from near our borders so that this repeated acts of cruelty on the Israeli community are not committed. However, this is correct. No doubt is correct. But the question is, how far you can take a river? You see that the farther you go.
Sir, may I intervene here?
I said that, yes, sir.
As far the human losses are concerned, there have been reports and also clips which have come into being that the Hamas fighters have donned civil clothes and coming out of the tunnels and engaging the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. So it apparently seems that the Hamas is using the civil population as a human shield. That could be one of the possibilities. Yes, as far as the devastation is concerned, terrible. Israel has also complained that the prisoners or the hostages which have been kept there by the Hamas have been very badly treated. The ladies have been molested. They have been raped. Now, this is a one-sided story. Only the things will come out in the clear once the hostages are released. Sir.
I like, sir, that you may elaborate on, except the USA, which I'll talk at length. I like you to elaborate what is the role of global players as far as how are they putting their weight behind the conflict or in favor of the conflict. I mean, the role of the global players is more important today because many months have passed and no ceasefire has somehow come about. Global players.
So the global players have been on the ball since November 2023. First, the OIC conference, which was held in Riyadh of the Islamic countries, the 57 countries that took part in that, they said the war should stop, but they did not want to. They wanted someone else to stop the war, be it the US or the UN. They do not want to get involved themselves because there is some thought which is going on amongst them that the Hamas is an offshoot of Islamic Brotherhood. Islamic Brotherhood wants to bring on Shariat law in Gulf countries, which even the other Arab countries and the Gulf countries are averse to it. And other than the Islamic countries which came into being in, I mentioned to you, in November 2023. Then a UN resolution also took place in this January. The Security Council resolution did not talk of the war being stopped. They wanted a surge in the humanitarian relief to the Palestinians. So it is the world body which is involved. Besides that, Iran, which is supporting the Hezbollah in Lebanon and supporting the Houthis in Yemen, also in play. Israel has hit targets in Syria, so Syria also would be affected. And now with the Houthis targeting Israeli-based ships in the Red Sea, that means Yemen has also come into play. The Houthis are the proxies of Saudi Arabia. Not Saudi Arabia, of Iran. So it is a whole world body which is affected because any shipping which was coming through the Red Sea has now to go through the Cape of Good Hope. It is an economic burden to the whole exchequer.
I'd like to add here, while the idea of the whole world getting involved are major portion of the Arab countries getting involved, etc., is concerned is well understood. My main worry is that how far and to what extent these global countries, particularly the countries which you have referred, can soothe the nerves and can bring about some sort of reconciliation. As far as the USA is concerned, sir, USA has always been a very strong supporter of Israel. There's no doubt about it. In fact,
Correct.
right from the day
Absolutely.
when Israel declared its independence years back, within 24 hours, USA recognized Israel. That is, the first recognition was done by the USA when Israel state was created. The reason some people, scholars, put behind is that they are colonial settlers. That is, the original people belong to some other races. Colonial settlers are there. Like they say, Israel is a colonial settler. Similarly, America is a colonial settler in its own way. Therefore, the colonial settlers, as they say, some of the erudite scholars says, they are not bothered about the sensitivities or about the culture of the groups which are already there. So they think them as superior, and therefore they are able to do what they feel like doing, particularly with their weaponry and advanced warfare tactics which they have learned. So they are not bothered. In this respect, I am only trying to re-emphasize that USA has somehow or the other played a very major role in, I'll say otherwise, in not stopping or not bringing about the ceasefire. Every time some person, some party, some country brought about a resolution in UNESCO for ceasefire, it either vetoed USA or it gave a twist and said, let's have a humanitarian pause, but not a total ceasefire. Now, this is the way in which USA has been behaving. And therefore, I am of the view that unless USA realizes its role in a positive manner, yes, the conflict has to be brought to an end, or at least a ceasefire has to be brought to an end. There's not going to be, I think, a total ceasefire. Now, recently, you may recollect that the Vice President, even Kamala Harris, she said in an open meeting and USA and criticized severely the bombing in South Gaza. She said that South Gaza bombing is resulting in killing and wounding civilian Palestinians. She has said that the safety of these civilians is the responsibility of Israel. I'm using the word, the safety of the civilian Palestinian is the responsibility of the Israel. Further than the Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, he also gave a statement, USA, simultaneously, and he, on the other hand, says that the protection of civilians in Gaza need to be engaging or should engage the attention of the Israeli forces. It goes on to say the statement I'd like to emphasize that, yes, of course, certain strategic imperatives, you are trying to use, you are an army officer, certain strategic imperatives have to be kept in view. I mean, you keep the strategic imperatives in view, the Israeli forces, yet in a double talk, it says, yes, this responsibility of saving the civilian or looking after a civilian in Gaza, that is us, the Palestinian, is the responsibility of the Israel. The Prime Minister of Israel, he has stated that, yes, he is coordinating. Yes, he is coordinating with United States and other international organizations. For what purpose? To work out the territories where the civilians from Gaza should migrate. Where to? At present, the US is standing firm on Israel's side, and it is pathetic that they are not able to bring about the ceasefire and not able to persuade, as well as the Israel is concerned, that yes, that unconditional withdrawal of Hamas from Gaza is not possible. And you throw out the civilian, from the Gaza Strip, from the north to south, also is not going to help. Because ultimately you're asking about more than 1 million people to shift to a small place which you have indicated, which is hardly reported to be of an area of 1 by 2 kilometers. If you just stuff them there like, rotten apples, then ultimately the disease will spread out. Some epidemic will happen. That is the people with a little conscious of theirs have said, no, this is not done. You don't treat the civilian like that. So my submission is that irrespective of what the Arab countries do, irrespective of what the Middle East countries are doing, as far as the US stand is concerned, it is not very, very absolutely unequivocal that yes, have a ceasefire or have a long drawn out humanitarian pause. It is playing on words. strategic imperatives. Civilians should be looked after. Aid should be allowed to go. However, Hamas should return all the hostages. So my point is that taking over these facts into view, what do you see that there could be anything, any tangible solution for this? And how do you go to that? How this humanitarian pause of 4 days and 2 days have gone to give you any relief which can be considered as a humanitarian relief. But what is going to happen next? That's my submission.
Sir, I got two points here. What you said was very correct. Americans, as a matter of the whole world, is concerned about the casualties which are being suffered by the Palestinians. 45% of the casualties are children, and there are a large number of people who are still buried under the debris. They've not been able to clear them out. So as of now, they're saying about 22,000 plus civilian casualties have taken place in Gaza. But this is the report of the Hamas. Now, how many casualties? Actually, one can't be too sure. But both the sides, the Hamas as well as the Palestinians, they both have had they're having a strong stand against their own views. Hamas says we will not go for a temporary ceasefire. We'll go for a permanent ceasefire. Israel says that we have to finish Hamas. The latest report which I read some time back, the Israeli Prime Minister has said that finally Gaza is under the control of Israel. That is point one. Secondly, the Hamas leaders, Sinwar is one, and the other one, they both have to be exiled from Palestine so that there is no threat to Israel in the future. So humanitarian loss is there. But if you see another factor, wherever the safe zones of the Palestinians, which was given by the Israel, the Hamas has been firing rockets from that area. So it is both ways they're involved in this, sir.
Oh, I agree both ways. I am saying the road of I bring you back the road of the other powers who are either directly affected or who, because of their economic stability, do not want to interfere, or those who have got some pro-inclined jihadi militias operating in their areas. It is reported in the recent past that Qatar has been acting to a great extent a good moderator to get some hostages released. The initial hostages, 3 hostages of America which were released, were also with the interference of Qatar. Over and above, in the recent past, there were reports that the political head of Hamas is going to visit some countries, either in Iran and close by, to have some intensive negotiations to bring about a pause or some way out from the ceasefire. To emphasize that let us have a ceasefire. So far, what has happened. We strongly condemn the taking away of the hostages. We strongly condemn also the devastation done on the civilian Palestinian present there, the civil Palestinian population there. So under the circumstances, what is your view that about 20,000, if not more, civilians have been lost? A number of soldiers of the Israel also having been killed. And there seems to be some sort of differences inside Israel also over the swap over. Can you elaborate on that, about the swap over of the hostages and the Palestinian prisoners?
Sir, I feel that some leaders of Hamas have been killed, be it in Beirut or Lebanon, and some have been killed within Gaza Strip itself. The Hamas leadership that news is tightening on them. That is one of the reasons why the leader had gone to Egypt to talk for a peace talk, to have a ceasefire. So, and Israel is also saying that yes, we are close to winning. So you see, it is both ways they are playing the game. And I feel that they both have hardened their stand. Hamas says that we are not going to release any hostages till the time the Israelis stop the offensive. Israelis say that we will not stop the offensive till the time Hamas is evicted. So they both have hardened the stand. Some via media has to be found to get into some sort of a peace deal. Now, even the Prime Minister of Israel, though he's under tremendous pressure in his own country, the family members of the hostages, they are after him to have the hostages released. But he has decided that he has to sort out the Hamas. So it is, and Hamas says no hostages will be released till the time the offensive of the IDF stops. Now, out of there are about 124 hostages still held by Hamas. And there is one report to say out of the 124, about 21 have already died. Now, how they have died? Is it died because of illness? Have they died because of the Israeli action? That is a moot point, sir. So that is what I feel. Both have hardened the stand towards their views.
Israel, as far as deaths are reported, the Israelis also have reported somewhere that there are about 1,200 to 1,400 Israeli civilian also killed. As far as Palestinian are concerned, the total death goes beyond 20,000. Israel total injured also is about 555, that is 5,500 plus. The Palestinian total injured goes beyond 20 to 25,000. The fragile ceasefire is not going to end the actual conflict, even if it is resorted to fragile ceasefire from time to time. The pro-jihadis and Muslim politics in the world can make the situation still difficult. In South Africa, I remember the MPs have voted for closing the Israel embassy. Sometimes back, USA aircraft also had been striked by Hezbollah in Iran. And sometimes the US bases in Syria and Iraq also have been intruded by the drones from Iran or from Yemen. The further developments are taking place in the Arab countries also, I understand. So after taking this consideration view, and recent developments in Arab countries and operations of IDF towards South Gaza, what is your further take on this point?
So now, as I mentioned earlier, the OIC conference which was held in November last year, none of the Arab countries have said that they will get into this war. They are more interested in the economy of their own countries. Though some country proposed lift the siege and put an embargo on the Israeli weapons and put sanctions on them. But the fact is, there's some countries of the OIC countries, which are getting weapons and equipment from Israel. So the proxies of Iran have been, as you mentioned, attacking the US bases in Syria and Iraq. The Houthis have become very active. Now Hezbollah, which is actually get the support from Iran, they will get active. And as some troops of Gaza Strip have been pulled back for two reasons, I feel. One is to start manning the technical industry, because they're losing about $240 million per day. And also to shore up the defensive posture towards Lebanon. So it is a very dangerous sort of a situation where large number of countries of Middle East get involved in this Israel-Hamas war, sir.
Mehta, can you please go ahead further and let me have a view, let me understand that as the role of ideology is concerned, how the role of ideology is going to help or not help in this area, and how do you feel ultimately there is a need to have focus on the ideology at the state or organization level? What are the linkages between them? And what is your view? Hamas leader Khalid Mashal, what is his view as for the Muslim population in the area is concerned?
So there is there are three aspects of ideology, sir. One is the motivation. The motivation is governed by the religion. But here, there seems to be some sort of a mismatch because one sect of the Islam is based on Shias, the other sect is based on Sunnis. Now, the Hamas people who have been captured by the IDF, the question asked to them was, as per Islamic rule, women and children are not to be harmed, but you have killed them, you have raped them on 7 October. What is the take on that? They had no answer to give. This is against the Islamic tenet. So religion plays a very major role. But here again, between the sects, there is some sort of a dichotomy in them. Second aspect is resource control. The resource control in terms of economy, and that is also part of ideology, because the ideology is based on money power. It's the economy. So I think these two major factors are a major issue as far as the ideology is concerned, sir. Like I qualify the statement. If the ideology is Islamic, why aren't the Islamic countries taking part in this operation?
No, this is
because
the point.
They're more concerned about the economy.
No, that's what I say. How far do you think that they'll play dilly-dally? I mean, as against their ideology. At the moment, they are worried, as you say, stable economy. And they are not worried about ideology. But indirectly, they say in terms of ideology also. So do you think that this will continue like that? I mean, you are not taking this side or that side as the ideology is concerned. You are not taking any part as far as the efforts are concerned for cessation of hostilities. And at the same time, we are crying, Muslim countries are crying at the top of their voice. There is heavy losses of civilian, Palestinian, etc. Some should be done by the world. So my point is that how far they can go on having this dealing, darling. Do you think that the time is now ripe, or time is coming, if not ripe, that there may be some major conflict in case these countries go by ideology or go at least by the religion to which they have that feeling that in terms of religion at least, irrespective of Shia and Sunni. I'm not saying there are also two forces, Shia and Sunni. Iran is Shia and their own. That is one point, Shia and Sunni. But as far as the ideology is concerned, these places are also been having the breeding ground for some of the strong rebels in this area. That is, the militias are also operating there. So what is your view as far as I'm again emphasizing, because of your having remained in the army, that strategically how far do you think that these states or these countries can remain themselves, can continue to remain out of the conflict, yet involved in bringing about a ceasefire?
It's one more aspect I want to bring out. Ideology, Islamic ideology is common to all. But there are certain aspects or sects or groups which are going for different ideology. For example, Islamic Brotherhood. Islamic Brotherhood wants Sharia law to be invoked all over countries, which the monarchies are not in favor of it. So the ideology also is suspect, you see, in a sense that they're killing their own, Shias are killing Sunnis, Sunnis are killing Shias and Ahmadiyas and Barlevis and what have you. Now, the monarchies do not want the Islamic Brotherhood to come in there. So there is quite a bit of confusion in the whole system, sir.
So there is another view also, that according to Israel perspective, their civil population and public at large is still traumatized by the event of 7th October. That's the attack of Hamas on their club. Hamas from the area of Gaza Strip need to be, according to them, uprooted forever. As they have the harboring places, they have those tunnels, and according to their view, the only way to stop further claustrophy in this area is to make the leadership of Hamas realize that they must immediately release all hostages and stop any nonsense future. And the way is either totally dismantle their harboring places, totally dismantle their tunnels, and at the same time push out the so-called sympathizers and supporters, which are Palestinian, from north to the other side of the country. Now, other side of the strip. Now, what do you say with hardening the attitude? If tunnels are important, how the tunnels were created and how these tunnels can now be totally finished? Will this continue to serve as harboring hideouts? Now, disharmony also is there in the Hamas cadre. No, there's not
Correct,
that.
sir. Absolutely.
So, could you elaborate on this? I mean, their harboring places, and on the one side, it's totally the population, Israel population is still traumatized. On the other side is the Hamas is also suffering
I
huge
want to
losses.
bring up the population of Palestine is quite radicalized. I have seen a clip where the people are saying that all the Hamas people who are dying or otherwise dying, they are martyrs. I've heard mothers saying, I don't mind my child dying as a martyr. So I feel there's a tremendous amount of radicalization which has taken place among the Palestinians. The way they are operating, it indicates that any society where the war is on, that society would like to leave that place. But here the population, be it North Gaza, Central Gaza, Khan Yunis, the population is still floating around there. So, I mean, that's what my take on it, sir.
Okay, I'll just finish it with a few words, and then the last conclusion remarks may be you. Further, there has also been report that somehow or the other, Iran has been supporting Hamas. This suggests that Hamas have been external support, advice, and guidelines from Iran in this conflict also. Correct. At the moment. And there is also reports that Iran is behind such support. In fact, Iran has also provided hundreds and millions of dollars of aid to the Palestinian and the Israeli Palestinian Islamic Hamas there. But can you elaborate and then conclude this subject, because there's hardly any time left with us.
Sir, Iran is now becoming quite vocal about their actions. Like this Iranian commander who was killed in Syria. The hierarchy of Iran is saying we're going to take revenge. Yesterday, there was an IED blast when the people went to the mausoleum of Suleiman, that general who was killed. About 170 people have died there. I'm sure they will put the blame onto some Western country or Israel. So I have a feeling, sir, that things are going to be difficult in times to come unless the world power comes together.
It is yet to be seen as to how the new trajectory of this conflict will come out. Further powerful reaction from other states like Iran and USA does matter, but whether it will bring about a ceasefire is a big question. So far we have discussed that USA unstinted support is being given to Israel. It had vetoed all resolutions for total ceasefire on Israel. Even on May 14th, as I told you initially, in 1948, it had declared itself, when it had declared as sovereign state, US is the first to recognize it. So therefore, I am of the view that keeping in view the Israel aim, keeping in view the US support, keeping in view what are the activities going to be of the Hamas, keeping in view what are support given by, what is the type of support given by the Iran and other Arab countries, we should now conclude by your views on the subject overall, General Mehta, that how do you think that what is it going to happen and what do you think should be done now? That's all my request. And then you'll conclude the session, sir.
So this is Israel-Palestine war as actually affecting a large number of countries, which we discussed in the past. It is besides the Iran, Hezbollah, Yemen, all these people are coming into being. Besides that, the world body is also concerned because of economic reasons. With the Houthis targeting the ships in the Red Sea, it has a tremendous economic letdown to the countries concerned because the route for the ships is from the Cape of Good Hope. Secondly, America is also concerned, though of course the Prime Minister of Israel is saying that we are under no one's influence to carry on our operations. But the US is also saying, you please carry out operations based on credible intelligence rather than going in for civil casualties. That's a very important facet, sir. Now, now with the pressure being put out by the Israelis on the Palestinians, it seems that the the Hamas people are operating in civil clothes. Now, obviously, there's going to be collateral damage because I've seen a clip where two boys coming out of the tunnel with an RPG and addressing a Israeli tank. So they're going to be collateral damage because if they're operating in civil clothes, that means they are keeping the civil as the shield. Now, Americans have already hit two boats of the Houthis, killing about 10 people. And now, if further exaggerating, the Iranians have sent one ship into the Red Sea. Now, this is going to be a very difficult situation where Iran is coming into being. Iran is also saying that we'll take revenge or we'll avenge the death of this brigadier general in Syria. So things are going to be quite difficult, whereas the Israeli Prime Minister says that the war will only end when Hamas is finished. And the statement he made yesterday was that the Hamas leader has to be exiled from Palestine so that there is no threat to Israel hereafter. I just hope that better sense prevails and the situation is kept under control and does not further go to other countries, which are going to affect the Middle East in a very, very bad way, sir.
Thank you so much, General Mehta. It was indeed a pleasure to talk to you. And let's hope that thinner sense prevails and the world gets some sigh of relief from this conflict. Thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure meeting you, sir. Thank you very much.